Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Fanatics. I'm Brayden, and today I'm bringing you the part 2 to my Evil Dead trilogy reviews, and that is Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, my favorite of the Evil Dead movies. But before we begin, of course, as you guys already know with our videos, there's going to be a spoiler alert. You've been warned. Let's talk about this movie. Now, of course, this movie is one of my favorite horror films ever. It was on my top 20 favorite films of all time. But why? Why do I love it so much? Well, I love this movie is with all three of the Evil Dead movies, there's only one movie that can give you this experience. And I think Evil Dead 2 combines the horror and suspense and just awfulness of the first one mixed with the campiness and the comedy of Army of Darkness, and it takes both of those concepts, and I think it's the best movie in terms of horror movies that combines horror and comedy so well, because this movie, while being bloody and over the top and gory and a little bit scary and suspenseful at parts, it's funny, it's hilarious. The things that happen in these movies, and particularly Evil Dead 2, is so funny. Like in the sequence when Ash is like losing it in this cabin, and he's like laughing and bouncing up and down, and as like the lamp is laughing and the mounted deer head is laughing. It's so stupid. Excuse me, but it's so funny, it's so much fun, and I love this movie. And if you guys don't know the plot of Evil Dead 2, before I go any further, basically Evil Dead 2 is the sequel to Evil Dead. It picks up right where the first one leaves off, but some people might have a grief with me, and don't murder me in the comment section below. Take away the first 10 minutes of this movie, it's a sequel to Evil Dead. People are like, well, it's a prequel. No, it's just recapping what happened in the first one, but simplified. If you skip past the first 10 minutes, it's a direct sequel to the first one. That's what I've never understood when people talk about this movie. It's a direct sequel to the first one if you ignore the first like 5 to 10 minutes. It's just recapping what's happened to get the audience back in the cabin with Ash. But it's not changing anything. All the stuff in the first one happened. Just, if you're mad about that, just skip the first like 5 to 10 minutes of this movie. It's a sequel to the first one. Anyway, let's get into this. Now, of course, Sam Raimi returned as director, and Bruce Campbell, of course, returned as Ash in his best performance as this character. Bruce Campbell is on fighting form in this movie. He's awesome. And originally this movie wasn't gonna be made, but Stephen King loved the first one so much that he got Sam Raimi's budget started, and that's how Evil Dead 2 came to be. But the reason why in the recap in the first like 10 minutes it looks a little bit different and there's only 2 characters instead of 5 is because they didn't own the rights to their own movie because of like this big like lawsuit and rights issue. I'm not gonna get into that, but all I know is that the rights bounced around. Excuse me, wow. And Sam Raimi couldn't get the rights to his own movie, so he had to simplify everything. But with all the history of the movie out of the way, let's jump into what I love about this movie. This is the movie, like all 3 Evil Dead films, is that if you want a certain type of experience, a certain type of movie, there's only one movie, and Evil Dead 2 is, in my opinion, the best horror comedy ever, because it nails the horror and suspense of the original with the Sam Raimi flair that's on full form in this one, which was subtle in the first one. It's on full form. This is a comedy, and it's hilarious. Like the buckets and fountains of blood that they spray at Ash is hilarious. Especially the scene where he's shooting his severed hand through the wall, and this like big volcano just comes spurting at him, and it looks like someone has like a big like fireman's hose and just spraying him with blood. Like, it's so over the top and silly, but at the same time you kind of just buy it, and you're like, yeah, it's a lot of blood, it's stupid, but it's a lot of fun. And that's what a horror movie like this should be. It should have that creepiness and suspense of the first one, but it should also have a little bit of the fun. And they go full on fun in this movie. Like, it's like a slapstick comedy at times, especially in the whole sequence when Ash's hand is possessed and it's like slapping him, and he's like smashing like plates against his face, and at one point he takes his hand and like flips himself around like onto the ground. Like, all the slapstick all the slapstick comedy stuff Bruce Campbell does in this movie, this is like a Bruce Campbell vehicle. Like, all the other characters are just side characters. It's Bruce Campbell front and center doing everything in this movie. He drives this movie. He carries this movie on his shoulders. It's so fun to watch him do all these crazy, stupid, like, Three Stooges humor. It's just so, it's funny, it's stupid, it's silly, but it also fits into, like, the horror and suspense of the first one, and they throw that in there, too. Buckets of blood. For, like, a gore person who likes stupid, like, over-the-top blood, this is your movie. It was originally gonna get, like, rated X, but they changed some of the blood to, like, green for, like, the monsters. So that's how they managed to slip by with an R rating. But either way, the Evil Dead 2 is awesome. Like, it's one of these movies that's so much fun. I watch it every year. It's so silly. And of course, the amazing and iconic line, groovy, after Ash, fits himself with the sawed-off double-barreled shotgun and a chainsaw hand. He puts it up and he goes, groovy. Like, it's just so iconic. It's so funny. And the whole montage of them like assembling all the parts is hilarious. At the same time, it's fun. And then the whole third act, when they have to figure things out and get the missing pages of the Book of the Dead and recite the enchants and get the portal opened, and there's like a ticking time bomb, and of course the famous end of the movie where he gets sucked into the portal because they weren't able to close it in time, and he's now in the Middle Ages. And these people are screaming that, he has the hero who has, come from the sky to deliver us. And as the camera pulls back, Ash is just like screaming, like, no, like he's like in hysterics at that point. And that was an interesting note to end off on. And we'll get to Army of Darkness next time. But they took that idea and they turned it on its head in the follow-up. But we'll get to Army of Darkness soon enough. But Evil Dead 2 is an amazing movie. It's a fun watch, a fun horror comedy, a fun just movie in general. It's gory, it's cheesy, it's over the top, it's silly. But it also has a really good lead and some fun characters to watch. And it's just a movie I can constantly watch. It's one of my favorite horror movies, one of my favorite just comedies. It's my favorite horror comedy. It was on my top 20 favorite movies of all time, and it is my favorite Evil Dead movie of the series. And of course, with the first one, Evil Dead 2 gets an A+. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Please make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment below about your thoughts on Evil Dead 2 right there. Sorry. I'm tired, can you tell? And I will see you next time. This has been Brayden from the Movie Fanatics signing off. And let's hope this little controller works. Bye, guys. It seriously doesn't work. Like, I have to press it twice. Anyway, I'm out of here.